Welcome to the How to Clean a Mattress.
Thank you. It's great to be here for this deep dive.
So right beneath you, hidden deep within the fibers of the place where you spend roughly a third of your entire life is, well, it's a thriving, invisible biological ecosystem.
Yeah, that is a very unsettling way to put it, but it's completely accurate.
I mean, you shed millions of skin cells, you sweat, and feeding on all of that is a microscopic menagerie that you are sleeping on top of like every single night.
Right. And people don't want to think about it.
They really don't. And yet, a staggering 51% of South Africans have never done a single thing to clean it. Never. Not even once.
It really is the ultimate blind spot in how we think about our homes. I mean, we are meticulous about washing the clothes we wear for just a few hours.
Oh, absolutely.
We scrub our kitchen counters,
Yeah.
but we completely ignore the giant porous rectangle that absorbs our biological output for 8 hours a day, 365 days a year.
It's so gross when you say it like that.
It is. And when you look at that 51% statistic, which, by the way, comes straight from a recent survey by South Africa's largest online bed and mattress retailer, the Mattress Warehouse, it sounds grim.
Very grim.
But the mission of this deep dive isn't to induce panic. It's actually, well, it's a rescue operation.
I definitely need rescuing because reading through the source material completely changed how I look at my bedroom, like forever.
I think it does that for a lot of people.
The goal today is to rescue you from sleeping on what is essentially a biological sponge. And the incredibly encouraging news is that we don't need to hire a hazmat team or buy some ridiculous industrial-grade steam vacuum.
No, not at all.
We are going to explore a highly effective framework from the Mattress Warehouse that utilizes basic chemistry and like things you already have in your kitchen.
Exactly. The power here lies in understanding the mechanisms of cleaning, rather than just throwing money at expensive products.
Right.
But before we get into the how, we really need to establish the why. Because the immediate defense most people have when they hear that 51% statistic is, well, I wash my sheets.
Yes.
They think, I use a clean fitted sheet and a flat sheet. The mattress itself is protected.
I'm completely guilty of this exact mindset. I buy high thread count Egyptian cotton. I wash it weekly in hot water. And I assume I'm creating an impenetrable fortress. Why isn't that enough?
Because textiles, by their very nature, are porous. They have to be.
Otherwise, you'd just be sweating all night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd be sleeping on a sheet of plastic and you would overheat immediately.
Mm.
So while your sheets catch a lot of the surface level debris, gravity and time are relentless.
So the bad stuff still gets through.
Yeah. If we look at what microbiologists and sleep experts are constantly observing, microscopic particles, specifically dead skin cells, evaporated sweat residue, and the dust mites that feed on those skin cells, they constantly filter through the weave of your sheets.
Oh, wow.
And every time you toss and turn, you act like a giant bellows.
Yeah.
You're physically pumping these microparticles deeper into the core of the mattress.
So you're literally pressing the debris down into the foam and springs with your own body weight, like every time you move.
Precisely. And this is where we get a phenomenal insight from Zach Smith, the founder of the Mattress Warehouse. He points out a reality that completely reframes mattress maintenance.
What does he say?
Well, we tend to think of cleaning a mattress as just removing an ugly coffee stain. But he emphasizes that the cleanliness of your mattress directly, physically impacts the air quality of your bedroom.
Wait, the air quality.
Yes. And the air quality of your bedroom is the unseen foundation of a restorative sleep cycle.
That honestly blew my mind because when I think about sleep hygiene, I'm thinking about behavioral stuff,
Like what?
like putting away the smartphone, reading a book, keeping the room at 68 degrees. But literal physical hygiene, the actual composition of the oxygen you are inhaling for 8 uninterrupted hours is being filtered through whatever ecosystem is trapped inside your mattress.
Think about the proximity. Your nose and mouth are mere inches away from this porous surface.
Ugh, that's true.
If the core of your bed is packed with dust mite waste and old, oxidized sweat residue, those allergens become airborne every time you shift your weight.
Because of that bellows effect you mentioned.
Right. You're breathing them in all night. This leads to micro-interruptions in your sleep architecture.
So you wake up with a slight scratch in your throat, maybe some mild sinus congestion, or just feeling like you didn't quite hit that deep REM sleep.
Exactly. And you blame work stress or you blame the pollen outside.
When the culprit is literally the biological sponge you're lying on.
Which brings us to the baseline rules established by the experts. We need a timeline to understand what normal maintenance even looks like.
Okay, so what's the baseline?
The macro rule, the absolute ceiling for a mattress's lifespan, is about 7 years. You should be replacing the entire thing every 7 years.
See, I have to push back a little on the 7-year rule. 7 years feels incredibly short for something that costs a significant amount of money. Is that an absolute hard limit or just an industry suggestion?
I get that it sounds short, but it's heavily rooted in material science and biology.
Oh, so?
By year 7, even with the best maintenance, the internal structures, the polyurethane foams, the metal coil tensions, they begin to physically degrade.
Oh, so the bed literally loses its shape.
Yeah. But more importantly, the sheer accumulation of biological matter reaches a critical mass. Even if you clean it annually, materials inherently fatigue.
Okay, I see.
But that annual cleaning is what ensures those 7 years are actually healthy, rather than a slow decline into a respiratory nightmare.
Fair enough. Once a year for the deep dive clean. But there is a massive, highly time-sensitive caveat to that rule mentioned in the sources, the immediate action protocol.
Yes. The midnight snack mishap or the Sunday morning coffee disaster.
We've all been there.
If you spill liquids or drop food onto the mattress, the annual schedule goes out the window. You must act immediately.
Because it soaks in, right?
Exactly. If you allow a liquid to sit, it doesn't just stain the surface, it penetrates the deeper layers where air cannot reach it. The stain sets into the chemical bonds of the fabric.
And then you're stuck with it.
Yeah, and a permanent, localized odor will become trapped inside the bed.
All right, so the stakes are set. We know what's lurking down there, and we know we need to reclaim our air quality. So let's get into the actual mechanics of this rescue operation.
Let's do it.
And we are starting completely dry. You strip the bed, entirely duvet, pillows, fitted sheets, mattress protector, gone. You are staring at a completely bare mattress.
This is the critical foundation. Before we even consider introducing liquids or chemistry to the situation, we have to perform a dry extraction.
And I love this because it requires zero specialized equipment. You literally just grab your standard household vacuum cleaner.
That's right.
But I'll admit, my usual method is to just take the vacuum and wildly push it across the bed for about 30 seconds until it looks vaguely clean. Am I doing it wrong?
Completely wrong, unfortunately.
I knew it.
You can't treat the mattress like a hallway rug. The specific methodology recommended by the Mattress Warehouse is heavily reliant on using the correct tool,
Which is?
the upholstery attachment. It's usually that smaller rectangular plastic nozzle, sometimes equipped with a velvet-like strip or very stiff, short bristles.
Why does the attachment matter so much? Why not just use the normal floor head with the spinning brush?
Well, a regular floor head is designed for durable carpets. The spinning beater bar can physically tear and fray the delicate, woven ticking on the surface of your mattress.
Oh, so you'd actually damage the bed.
Exactly. The upholstery attachment, however, concentrates the suction power into a very narrow high-velocity channel.
Gotcha.
It's designed to pull deeply embedded dust, allergens, and skin cells out of the complex weave of a fabric without causing mechanical damage to the surface.
That makes perfect sense. So you have the right tool, but the technique is just as crucial. You start at the head of the mattress, right where the highest concentration of dead skin cells will be.
Because that's where your face and hair rest.
Right, and you work your way down.
And you must be methodical. You are essentially dealing with a microscopic landscape.
Right. It's not just a flat surface. It's a dense forest of woven threads. You have to move in narrow, deliberate rows.
Almost like you're mowing a lawn.
Yes. You go across, drop down an inch, and go back across, overlapping your previous pass. You are meticulously extracting a year's worth of dry, invisible debris.
And if you rush it, or you miss a 3-inch gap, you've left a thriving little pocket of that ecosystem entirely intact.
And you have to pay special attention to the seams, right? The piping around the edges and any tufting or indentations in the mattress design.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those are the physical valleys where dust mites and dead skin naturally accumulate. The suction needs time to pull the particles out from those crevices.
Okay, so the dry extraction is finished. The loose debris is safely trapped in the vacuum bag. But what happens to the stuff the vacuum can't pick up?
Ah, the difficult stuff.
Yeah, the coffee I spilled last month, the oxidized sweat that has discolored the fabric, that stuff is chemically bonded to the mattress now.
Right.
We have to move from physical extraction to precision chemistry.
This is where the process becomes highly targeted. We're transitioning to dealing with embedded stains.
Yeah.
And before we even discuss the chemical solutions, the experts deliver an incredibly stern warning.
The ultimate do not do this rule.
This is the absolute danger zone of mattress cleaning. Do not, under any circumstances, soak the mattress.
Like, don't pour water on it.
Do not use a heavy stream of water,
Yeah.
and do not dump a bucket of soapy water onto the bed. It will cause catastrophic, irreparable damage.
But why is it so fatal to the bed? I mean, I can soak a t-shirt in a bucket and it's fine, it just dries.
A t-shirt is a thin layer of fabric that air can easily pass through to dry it. A mattress is a massive, dense block of varied materials. Specifically, if we look at memory foam, which is an incredibly popular material today, it is an open-cell polyurethane structure. Think of it like a microscopic, complex honeycomb.
Right. A really deep honeycomb.
Yes. If that deep honeycomb structure becomes saturated with water, it is nearly impossible for it to dry out entirely because the air circulation at the core of the mattress is virtually zero.
So the water just sits there?
The water becomes trapped, it breaks down the chemical integrity of the foam, causing it to lose its supportive properties.
Oh, that's why old mattresses sometimes get those weird soft sinks in them.
Exactly. And even worse, that dark, damp, warm environment becomes the perfect breeding ground for deep core mold.
Oh, gross.
The mattress literally rots from the inside out.
So soaking is completely off the table. We cannot treat the mattress like laundry. We need a precision strike.
We need spot cleaning.
Right. And the DIY chemical mixture recommended in the source material is brilliant because you don't need to buy a specialized industrial solvent. You are playing chemist with 3 everyday items.
Dishwashing solution, baking soda, and hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah. It is an incredibly elegant combination of chemical properties. Each ingredient has a very specific mechanism of action against a stain.
Let's unpack the chemistry here, because this isn't just a random concoction. First, the dishwashing liquid.
Yeah, why use dish soap instead of laundry detergent?
Because liquid dishwashing solution is heavily formulated with surfactants. Surfactants are fascinating molecules.
I remember the word surfactant from science class, but how do they work?
They have a hydrophilic head, meaning it loves water, and a hydrophobic tail, meaning it fears water but loves oils and fats.
So it acts like a chemical bridge.
Exactly.
The tail grabs onto the human sweat oils or the greasy food spill embedded in the mattress, and the head grabs onto the water in your cleaning cloth, allowing you to physically pull the oil out of the fabric.
It breaks the surface tension and lifts the biological oils. Then you have the hydrogen peroxide. This is your oxidizer.
What does the oxidizer do?
Hydrogen peroxide is essentially water with an extra highly reactive oxygen atom attached to it. When it encounters a stain like the dark pigments in coffee or tea, that extra oxygen atom attacks the chemical bonds of the stain,
Oh, I see. It's physically breaking the double bonds of the molecules that create the color.
the chromophores, yes.
Chromophores. So the stain doesn't just wash away, it is rendered invisible at a molecular level.
It's a safe, highly effective alternative to harsh chlorine bleach.
And finally, the baking soda provides a very gentle, microabrasive texture to help lift the physical residue while simultaneously neutralizing any immediate acidic odors.
It's a perfect three-pronged attack.
But the mixture is only half the battle. The application method is where most people ruin their mattress.
It's so true.
You mix this concoction, put it in a spray bottle, and lightly mist or dab it onto the stain with a damp cloth, and then you do something very specific. You blot.
The verb is non-negotiable. You blot, you press down firmly, and you lift straight up.
But my natural instinct, and I think everyone's instinct, is to scrub. When I see a tough stain, I want to put some elbow grease into it and aggressively rub the cloth back and forth.
And if you do that, you are actively making the problem worse.
Why?
Because when you scrub a woven textile, 2 things happen. First, the lateral friction physically damages the fibers, causing them to pill and weaken.
So you ruin the fabric.
Right. Second, you aren't pulling the stain out, you are simply spreading the liquid outward into a wider circle.
Like smudging it.
Exactly. And driving the moisture deeper into the foam layers below. Blotting, on the other hand, utilizes capillary action.
So you're pressing the dry, absorbent cloth into the damp, treated stain, and the liquid naturally wants to travel upward into the drier material.
Yes.
You are literally pulling the moisture and the broken down stain out of the bed.
It requires patience. You apply the solution, let the chemistry work for a moment, and blot. Repeat until the transfer of the stain stops.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, what if you are dealing with a particularly stubborn organic stain, or you just don't want to mix your own household chemicals? The Mattress Warehouse provides a phenomenal alternative route.
Yes. natural enzyme cleaners.
I love enzyme cleaners. They feel like science fiction because they don't just mask a stain or bleach it, they literally digest it.
They do. The source specifically highlights citrus-based enzyme cleaners.
How do those differ from the peroxide mix?
Well, the mechanism of an enzyme cleaner is entirely different. Enzymes are specialized biological proteins that act as molecular scissors. They operate on a lock and key mechanism.
Meaning they only attack very specific types of organic matter.
Correct. Protease enzymes break down protein chains like blood or sweat. Lipase enzymes break down fats and bodily oils.
Oh, that's brilliant.
When you spray a citrus enzyme cleaner onto a biological stain, the enzymes literally go to work unbinding and consuming the chemical content of the stain at a molecular level.
So they eat the stain.
Essentially, yes. They sever the bonds holding the organic matter to the fabric. Once the enzymes have digested the spill, you simply wipe away the residual breakdown. It is incredibly effective for anything biologically based.
That is just amazing. Now, speaking of maintaining the foundational fabrics of your home, tackling your mattress is really just one piece of the puzzle. If you want to ensure your entire living space is breathing cleanly, take a moment today to visit Kindeke Carpet Cleaning on Google.
I think that's a vital recommendation. Creating a healthy home is absolutely a holistic effort.
Right, it's all connected.
You can meticulously extract every dust mite from your mattress. But if the carpets surrounding your bed are still harboring a decade of allergens and dust, your bedroom's air quality remains severely compromised. The environment works as a single, interconnected system.
It really does. So, returning to our mattress rescue mission. We've vacuumed up the dry ecosystem. We've played precision chemist, utilizing surfactants and molecular scissors to blot away the permanent stains.
The bed looks visibly clean.
Right. But we aren't done. Because what about the things we can't see? The invisible lingering odors and the residual moisture we just introduced during the spot cleaning phase.
We have to shift our strategy.
From active physical scrubbing to passive chemical resting.
This is the deodorizing phase, and the undisputed hero here is humble baking soda. We used a tiny amount of it in our liquid mixture, but now it's going to do the heavy lifting all on its own.
The source material is adamant about this step, but why baking soda? Why not just spray some chemical air freshener over the bed and call it a day?
Because aerosol air fresheners do not remove odors. They simply attempt to overpower them with synthetic fragrances. They are a chemical mask.
Just covering it up.
Exactly. Baking soda's sodium bicarbonate actually eliminates the odor at a molecular level due to its amphoteric properties.
Amphoteric. That means it can act as both an acid and a base, right? It's like the ultimate chemical peacemaker.
That's a great way to put it. Most foul odors in a bedroom are highly acidic. Think of oxidized sweat or the butyric acid in body oils. Some odors are alkaline. Baking soda reacts with both.
How does the reaction work?
When it comes into contact with an odor molecule, it neutralizes it, converting it into a harmless, completely odorless salt.
Wow.
Simultaneously, it is highly hygroscopic, meaning it actively draws in and absorbs residual moisture from the surrounding environment.
It's essentially a microscopic sponge for both water and smell.
Yes.
So the strategy is to take a box of baking soda and sprinkle it liberally over the entire surface of the mattress. You want a generous, even layer of white powder covering the whole thing.
You can just sprinkle it and vacuum it right back up.
No. The crucial, non-negotiable ingredient here is time. Chemical reactions are not instantaneous. The text explicitly notes that the longer you leave the baking soda on the mattress, the better the result will be.
Several hours is the minimum.
But ideally, the source recommends leaving it on overnight for the absolute maximum extraction of moisture and neutralization of odors.
Which practically means you might be sleeping on the living room couch for one night.
Right. But when you understand the chemistry happening on your bed, it makes that night on the couch entirely worth it.
It really does.
The baking soda is spending those 12 hours chemically binding with a year's worth of trapped odor molecules and pulling out the dampness from the spot cleaning we just did.
And once that time has elapsed and your patience is paid off, you grab your vacuum cleaner again, strictly using the upholstery attachment, and you meticulously vacuum the entire surface again.
You are physically extracting the neutralized salts, the trapped moisture, and the dead odors right out of your life.
And at this point, the mattress is dry, and it smells completely neutral.
Which leads us to a step that genuinely surprised me. It sounds a bit old school, almost folksy, but the science backing it up is undeniable.
Harnessing the elements.
Taking the mattress outside into the sunlight, it seems like a massive physical undertaking, but you should never underestimate the power of the sun as a sanitizing agent.
It is a lot of work.
I have to admit, when I first read this in the guide, I thought it was ridiculous. Dragging a 100-pound queen mattress through the house, out the back door, and into the yard sounds like a nightmare.
It's definitely a two-person job.
Plus, wouldn't it just collect outdoor pollen and dust? Is the benefit really worth the sheer physical labor?
It is a phenomenal, highly effective method,
Mm.
provided you have a clean, dry place to rest it. The core benefit is the unfiltered ultraviolet light. The source text is very clear that UV rays act as a natural, incredibly powerful cleaner.
How does sunlight actually clean a fabric, though? It's just light.
It's a process called photodegradation. The photons in ultraviolet light carry a tremendous amount of energy.
Okay.
When those photons hit organic stains, they literally smash the chemical bonds holding those molecules together.
That's incredible.
It acts as a natural bleach, breaking down any faint, lingering discoloration that your spot cleaning might have missed without introducing any harsh liquid chemicals to the foam.
It's basically nature's ultimate purifier. And beyond the bleaching effect, UV light is highly destructive to the DNA of bacteria and microbes. It sanitizes the surface.
Plus, as the article cleverly points out, it provides vitamin D and a massive influx of fresh air.
It airs out the deep, dense core of the bed in a way that simply opening a window in a stuffy bedroom never could.
The ambient airflow removes the last traces of trapped humidity. However, there is an intensely practical, non-negotiable condition attached to this step.
Well, yes, the absolute biggest caveat in the entire guide, and this genuinely made me laugh when I saw it emphasized.
You must check the weather report first.
It sounds obvious, but it is critical.
Imagine going through the effort of extracting the dust, performing precision chemistry, neutralizing the odors with baking soda, dragging the heavy mattress outside to soak up the sun.
And then a sudden, unpredicted afternoon rainstorm rolls in while you are at the grocery store.
It would be an absolute disaster.
A rainstorm would instantly ruin the entire process, saturate the deep memory foam, and likely destroy the mattress forever.
Bringing us right back to our cardinal rule about never soaking the bed.
So please, act like a meteorologist before you commit to nature's bleach.
So, assuming the weather cooperated beautifully, let's look at the state of the mattress now.
It is devoid of the microscopic biological ecosystem. The permanent stains have been oxidized and lifted. The deep odors have been neutralized by the baking soda. And it has been naturally bleached and sanitized by the sun.
It smells like a fresh summer day.
The rescue operation is a massive success. But how do we put it back on the bed frame? And more importantly, how do we ensure it stays this pristine?
We are entering the home stretch.
We need to look at the final physical maneuver and how to future-proof this sleep sanctuary.
When you bring the mattress back inside, it is the perfect, opportune moment to execute the next step. The flip.
Flipping a mattress feels like such a deeply ingrained piece of traditional household wisdom. You flip it to distribute the wear and tear, give the materials new vitality, and drastically increase the overall longevity of the bed.
Because if you sleep in the exact same spot every night, you're compressing the exact same springs and crushing the exact same polyurethane foam cells. Over time, that creates a permanent valley.
It's basic physics. You want to even out the mechanical stress. However, we have to add an incredibly important caveat straight from the Mattress Warehouse's guideline.
You cannot just blindly flip any mattress today. You must check the manufacturer's specific recommendations first, because mattress architecture has evolved dramatically.
Right. The mattresses of 20 years ago were mostly symmetrical inner spring blocks. You could flip them like a pancake.
But many modern high-tech beds are specifically engineered as one-sided structures.
They are built with a very deliberate stratigraphy.
Exactly. They have a dense, highly rigid base layer on the bottom, designed strictly for structural support, and then multiple varying layers of plush, cooling, viscoelastic comfort foams stacked on top.
So if you flip a one-sided mattress, you'll be sleeping directly on the rock-hard base foam, and you'll be crushing those delicate, expensive comfort layers against the wooden slats of your bed frame.
You will ruin the bed and wake up in agony.
If the manufacturer explicitly says do not flip, you must listen to them. But that doesn't mean you can't distribute the wear.
For one-sided mattresses, they usually recommend rotating at 180 degrees instead.
You spin the head of the bed to the foot of the bed. The heavy parts of your body, your hips and shoulders, are now resting on a completely fresh section of the foam, which achieves a similar goal of evening out the mechanical wear without turning the architecture upside down.
So the mattress is pristine, it's been rotated or flipped correctly, and it is back on the base. Now we arrive at the ultimate question of maintenance.
Yes, because as satisfying as this deep dive cleaning process is, I do not want to do this every single month.
No one does.
What is the absolute best way to avoid having to perform this intense, multi-step rescue operation constantly? How do we future-proof the bed against our own biology?
The expert advice here is incredibly simple, relatively inexpensive, and highly effective. Invest in a high-quality, waterproof mattress protector.
It is the ultimate preventative measure, and it fundamentally changes the lifespan of your bed.
It really does.
I always used to associate waterproof protectors with those terrible, crinkly plastic sheets from childhood that made you sweat and sounded like a grocery bag every time you moved.
The technology has advanced light years beyond that. Modern waterproof protectors utilize advanced microporous polyurethane films or Teflon coatings.
So they don't feel like plastic anymore.
Not at all. They are engineered to be completely waterproof, blocking liquid molecules, but they remain breathable, allowing air and heat vapor to pass through so you don't overheat.
It's like putting a heavy-duty invisible phone case on a brand new smartphone. The protector shields the actual expensive mattress from the harsh realities of life.
It catches the daily shedding of dead skin cells, it stops the sweat, it blocks the dust mites from burrowing into the foam.
And most importantly, it stops sudden liquid mishaps dead in their tracks.
It literally catches the spilled coffee before it ever has a chance to touch the memory foam. And as the text astutely points out, establishing that protective barrier makes future cleaning an absolute breeze.
It completely eliminates the need for precision chemistry. Instead of mixing hydrogen peroxide and dish soap to blot a stain out of the mattress core, you simply strip off the waterproof protector, throw it into the washing machine with your regular laundry detergent, and you are done.
It's an investment that pays for itself in peace of mind and save time.
It protects the asset.
And I think it's important to briefly contextualize where all this fantastic, deeply practical advice is coming from.
The Mattress Warehouse.
Right. They aren't just throwing generic cleaning tips into the void.
Hmm?
They are genuinely passionate about creating what they refer to as a dreamy bedroom sanctuary.
They aren't just selling a product, they are advocating for a specific quality of life. They are a fully online, highly trusted South African brand, but they back that digital presence up with a massive physical infrastructure, with warehouses located countrywide.
So whether you are looking for this kind of expert maintenance advice, or you've realized during this deep dive that your current mattress is hopelessly past its 7-year lifespan and the biological sponge cannot be saved, they have massive selections available.
They carry all the trusted, heavy-hitting brands, from Cloud9 to Sealy. And what really stands out to me is that they offer a 100-day comfort trial.
That's a big deal.
It really is. That just proves how much they stand behind the philosophy of getting your unique sleep environment exactly right. You aren't just stuck with a decision, you have the time to ensure the bed actually supports your sleep cycle.
It really emphasizes the overarching theme we've been exploring today. Your bed matters. It's not just a piece of passive furniture. It is an active environment.
And your sleep environment dictates the quality of your waking life.
Absolutely.
This entire exploration has fundamentally shifted my perspective. A mattress requires care, chemistry, and respect.
And if we connect all these dots, the invisible debris, the localized air quality, the deep cleaning chemistry, the lifespan of foams, it raises a really important, somewhat provocative question to leave you with.
What's that?
Think about the sheer amount of time we spend in bed. About a third of our entire lives, our faces are mere inches away from this upholstery. If the invisible cleanliness and the air quality around our mattress so directly impacts our sleep cycle and our respiratory health, as Zach Smith pointed out so clearly, how might the unseen cleanliness of the rest of our home's upholstery be silently shaping our daily energy levels?
That is a profound thought. If a neglected mattress can disrupt your REM sleep and leave you waking up congested, imagine the biological ecosystem thriving in the living room sofa you watch movies on, or the dining room chairs, or the carpets you walk across every day.
The air quality of your entire home is dictated by the fabrics within it.
The mattress is just the beginning. The principles of extraction, precision chemistry, and neutralization apply to the entire domestic environment.
Exactly right.
That is something that is going to linger with me every time I sit down on a couch from now on. To keep that clean home momentum going, and to ensure your entire environment is as breathable and restorative as your newly cleaned mattress, don't forget to visit Kindeke Carpet Cleaning on Google. Thank you for listening to the How to Clean a Mattress podcast.